Hi, my name is Lucy Thompson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am a medical tattoo expert. I've been a traditional tattoo artist since 2013, specialising in 3D, realistic and long-lasting nipple tattoos since 2017. The reason why I've decided to create a YouTube channel is to share with you some of my vast knowledge and experience to help build a new generation of Areola artists, share my vast knowledge and experience with you so I can enable people to elevate their skills and be a trusted resource of information, and to share my experience and my background knowledge of being a traditional tattoo artist. So I've reached a point as an expert in my career where I want to share some of my knowledge and help people, because I do what I can. People reach out to me all the time. I've offered a wide range of courses to support people, but I feel like people are asking the same questions over and over again. So I thought if I could create some kind of resource to help people and inspire them to elevate the standard of work that they're offering, then why not? So this is what I'm here to do. The topic of my first ever video is Areola Artistry. And I'm going to delve into, we're going to start from the beginning with this. I really want to explain why it's important to offer a realistic option after mastectomy, and why the charity has set a standard and why that standard is so important. So here in England and many places across the world, in Europe and America and even Australia, the standard of tattoos that is offered is very basic. There's not much realism or artistry that goes into it from my experience and knowledge. We've been doing a lot of research over the years of doing this work, and we've found that clinicians in hospitals are only required to do a short 2 or 3 day course before they are then considered qualified to offer tattoos to people after their mastectomy surgery. Now, coming from a traditional tattoo background, and depending on people's backgrounds, 2 or 3 days is not enough to learn how to tattoo. For people to go straight into tattooing scar tissue, unfortunately and inevitably, there is some damage being caused. Now, not for 1 second am I saying these clinicians are doing this intentionally. No, absolutely not. They are taking the training, they are being told they are qualified, and they are allowed to go and tattoo people. They are doing the best that they possibly can. But how can we ask or expect a surgeon or a nurse to produce the same results when they are not consistently tattooing, they are not consistently working with skin, and they are never ever taught to draw? And I get people that come to me that have trained with multiple people previously, and they're not happy with the training they've had, unfortunately. They'll come to me and I will explain to them that drawing is a huge fundamental practice of this work. I challenge people. I'm here to challenge people, because people that have had mastectomies and breast cancer, they've not had a lot of choice in what's happened to them throughout the journey, throughout the surgeries, the invasive treatments. You know, there's a lot that happens that goes into a cancer diagnosis and the treatment and the journey. I wholeheartedly believe that everyone that needs a nipple tattoo should have access to something that's realistic, long-lasting, and unique to them. A colleague of mine, Becky, she made a really good comparison that nipples are like fingerprints. They're all very unique. They are not the same. And I think as an artist, it's our responsibility to invest in our craft. And that doesn't just mean financially. That means time. I get so many people coming to me saying, I've never drawn before. They may come from a PMU background. They've never picked up a pencil. They've never needed to. But they're striving. They're working hard. They're taking all these trainings to learn how to draw, how to produce realism on skin. But the truth is, if you are not practicing with a pencil on paper, you are going to be stuck in a rut. When you come to me, just know that I will be challenging you to draw, because at the end of the day, much like tattooing, there is a process. We have to develop a blueprint to offer any kind of tattoo, like a traditional tattoo, a scar cover-up, especially a nipple tattoo. This work isn't easy, it is an advanced service. So I want to share with you some of my knowledge today, which will hopefully give you some tips and tricks so you can work on your own practice and you can help people feel whole again. Okay, so I'm going to show you here how I've got a photograph of a real nipple, and I'm going to show you what elements to look out for. So I'm going to use a green colour so it's contrasted and it can stand out. So when you are looking at a real nipple, you can see that there's so many different kinds of textures, colours, shadows. First of all, we want to define the main structures that we can see, the boldest point. And I would say this is here around the actual nipple. So that would be a solid line. We can see the line kind of tapers off a little bit here where it's not as obvious. So I'm going to probably leave that a little bit. I'm not going to go all the way around. So the next part I would look at is these beautiful textures, wrinkles here that we can see. These are elements that I would pick out when I was going to be doing a drawing. I would just gently mark them out for what I see. All these textures that you see is what helps create realism, because we are recreating what we see. Realism is when you are focusing on an existing or a live subject matter. So it can't be something that you just know off the top of your head. You might be able to do something similar, yes, but it'll never be realism if you are not working from a reference. So you can see here I've started to pick out some of the key elements that I can see with the different textures within the nipple. We can also see that there is a lighter area and a darker area in the nipple. Now, usually when we are tattooing, we are doing this work, we would figure out where the light source would be coming from. And the light source means where the source of light is hitting. So a 3D illusion on a 2D surface, there's nothing physically there. It's about working with lights and shadows to create the illusion of a protrusion that is there, that isn't. So we can do that by working with lights and darks. So you can see here, I'm just going to do a little dotted line here where there is a darker element here. And that would be my dark shadow that I would create to help me create the 3D illusion. Next, we kind of have this mid-tone area, which we will blend through if we were working on paper with a pencil. So we would start off with a solid colour here, where it's darker, where the shadow is, and then we would add our mid-tone. Then we get to a much lighter tone here, where I would keep, obviously, the lightest colour. When I'm drawing, I probably wouldn't map out around the edge because I wouldn't want to have any kind of line around the edge, because nipples don't tend to have lines. This one kind of does because there was some surgery done here, so you can even see the edges are quite soft. So when I'm colouring, what I would do is I would kind of use my pencil on an angle if I was working with a pencil crayon. And I would kind of work in a circular motion, small and tighter for a more saturated look, and then larger and looser as I get towards the edge for a softer look. And then that means you get the nice soft natural edge which you do see on a nipple. So let's just take away the actual drawing of the actual photograph of the nipple, and you can see that looks very confusing and complicated. But when it's laid over an image on an iPad, you can see where you've picked up the key elements. Now, it's easy to do this on an iPad because you're just overlaying a layer on the photograph. But we're not here to be easy. We're not here to make shortcuts. When we work on paper with a pencil, this not only allows us to get a feel for the paper, it allows us to practice techniques and hand movements that we can then relay into our work when we are tattooing skin. Also, I get people saying to me all the time that they are struggling to select colours for their nipples. A really cool trick, if you use Procreate on your iPad, you can use this little selection tool here, and it just allows you to pick up colours. I like to go for 3 or 4 colours. I like to go for a dark contrasting tone, a mid-tone and a light tone to keep it simple, because you can layer these colours, you can build them up, you can help them blend seamlessly into each other. Obviously for more complex drawings you might choose to have more, but I would always say start off with 3 or 4 if you can. Just try and keep it simple, especially whilst you're learning. So I'm going to start off with my dark contrasting tone. So I've selected that, I've moved it across my screen, and as you can see here I'm just going to do a little sample of that colour. So then I'm going to go for a mid-tone, which will be my middle tone in between the darkest and the lightest. I'm going to select that tool again, and I'm going to go for this. I think that's a nice mid-tone. And again, I'm just going to do a little sample here so I can refer back to them when I need to. And for my light areola tone, I'm going to go for a colour here, nice and pink, I think. And then again, a little colour selection. That can help you simplify the process. And if you were choosing colour pencils and you were thinking, oh, but I see this colour and this and this and this, and you didn't know how to choose, like I said, keep it simple. Focus on your dark tone, your mid-tone, your light tone. Start off with those, see how you go. If you need to add more, you can do, and you might possibly want to. But I always say, keep it simple. This work is very challenging and complicated, and then we can build on that as our experience and confidence grows. I believe anyone with any experience in drawing can achieve realism. It all comes down to mindset. I meet a range of different people. I meet tattoo artists that do fine line tattoos. I meet PMU artists that tattoo eyebrows or lips. Or I teach realism artists who have experience of working with realism. And I get a different mixed reaction from a lot of them. Some PMU artists have told me they don't need to draw because they can do it on the skin. But I would challenge that, because why would you be coming to train with me if you can produce realism? By telling yourself you can't do it on paper but you can do it on skin, you don't need any help, why are you coming for help? You can learn this. I have developed programs and products to help you learn, but it really does come down to your mindset. Same with if you're a fine line artist, if you've never worked with colour. If you're a tattoo artist, we kind of have a little bit of an advantage learning this work because we have the luxury of having experience of tattooing lots of different body parts. When you are focusing on tattooing a face all the time, the stretch, the location, the angle of your needle, everything, the way that you approach it is a lot different to, say, tattooing someone's ribs or tattooing someone's knee. We gain a lot more experience through being a traditional tattoo artist and working with a very range of different skin types. And obviously drawing is the fundamental practice of our work. The point that I'm trying to express is no matter what your mindset is, even if you are a realism artist and you draw realism and you produce realism, every single nipple is different. So when you're drawing, you always need to work from a reference of a photograph. Some people have come to my training and sat and said, I don't need a photograph, look, I can draw a nipple. Yeah, it resembles something of a nipple, but it looks really basic. It doesn't look realistic. It looks like a cartoon nipple. So again, that comes down to me challenging you. Are you happy and content? Have you come to me just to sit comfortably and think you know it all and think you don't need to put the practice in? Because if so, then maybe I'm not the right trainer for you, because I'm going to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone, because that's where growth happens. When we are learning something new, we have to put the practice in to gain knowledge of it. Different nipples, as I said before, they're all so unique. The textures, the protrusions, the mechanisms, the Montgomery glands, the edges, everyone is so beautiful, unique and different. And spending time studying from a photograph, and I always recommend drawing with crayons on paper rather than an iPad, because an iPad is way too easy just to copy directly and you don't feel through your pencil what you're doing. However, when we take it back to basics and we start working on paper, we can feel when we're building up textures, we can feel the different work that we do, and we can feel how we can identify and work with different textures and creases. Don't get me wrong, iPads are great for certain elements of drawing, but if you're new to this or you're a seasoned areola artist, just take it back to basics. What have you got to lose? We've all got to start somewhere, and with the right mindset and continuous practice, consistent challenges, you can achieve this. And I've decided to offer a lot of things that people say to me is they can't find nipple references online. Things may come up when you search for nipples online that you don't want to see, and it's not quite helpful for you in your practice. So I have put together a free PDF of nipple references which is available on my website, www.areolaacademy.com. And that's free to anyone that needs it. If you just follow the link, then you can download that and you can use that in your own time. I also have a product which I'll be launching soon. This is a nipple reference book which I've created. This is still in the design stage, and it's not only a reference book where you can take a look at photos of nipples, but it's also a workbook. There is lots of tips and tricks in here to help you, which I'm going to share some more pictures of. And I'm so excited to launch this. I'll be doing a pre-sale on this in the coming months. And I think that's going to be a fantastic tool for people, whatever stage you're at. I believe working together as a community, we are stronger. Community over competition all day long, especially with this work. Everyone's breast cancer is different. Their diagnosis, their surgery, their treatments is completely different. And therefore we need to approach it all in a very unique way. And that's kind of what I love about this work, that you never ever stop learning. I've also created a Facebook community group for anyone that's looking to do this work, or maybe already does this work but are looking to improve their skills. And I will be sharing more as I begin to develop my free training resources through YouTube and other free references. And to make sure you don't miss out on anything that I'm doing, make sure you sign up to my mailing list, which is linked on my website. Make sure you sign up to my YouTube subscription. So I hope you've seen value in my video today, and I will be back again shortly to touch on another subject and share some more of my knowledge with you.